In today's Gospel passage we hear one of the versions of what St. Francis heard when he first began to respond to his call. Take nothing for the journey, neither walking staff, nor traveling bag, no bread, no money. And St. Francis said, this is what I long for. This is what I seek. And that's when he first put on the hermit's tunic, the tunic and the cord, which became his habit. And the other point we see here, this gospel passage was given when our Lord is sending his apostles and disciples out, 2 by 2. He's sending them out to go and preach what he'd been preaching to them, what he'd been teaching them, the gospel as it were. He's sending them out to go and preach and bring salvation to the people. And this epitomizes the life of the saint we celebrate today with a feast actually in this Franciscan order, Saint Lawrence of Brindisi, who was a Capuchin Franciscan. And that's exactly his life, the cord and the tunic, but also he was sent out to preach to many lands actually, normally to bring peace to lands where he was sent, well above and beyond his own native Italy. He also wrote treatises, and that's why he's known also as a doctor of the church, and was also a professor, a teacher of theology. And so it went for him. He was sent out on missions like this throughout most of his life. And finally, at the age of 65, you can imagine, well worn with all of his labors, he was sent out yet one more time. Again on a mission of peace. And he was sent to the King of Spain at that time, I believe Philip III, one of the Philips anyways. And he traveled on to Spain, from Italy all the way to Spain. And you can imagine a long track, having to go all the way up to Italy, all the way up over the Alps, down to the Pyrenees, into Spain, through France, down into Spain, on foot or by horse at 65, having traveled and preached and taught for all of his life. Finally gets to Madrid and asks for an audience with the king. Oh no, don't you know? He's gone to Lisbon. He's now in Portugal. And so Lawrence had to get up and go again, continue on his journey. Now you can imagine here from Madrid, which is square right in the center of Spain, all the way across Spain, the rest of Spain, all the way into Portugal and through Portugal. Probably by car, you can imagine about a 6 or 7 hour drive at least. Now we're on foot or by horse, so it took him a long time. Finally reached the king in Lisbon, carried out his mission, and he died right there in Lisbon. But here, the point. One, responding to this call that God gave to St. Francis, he gave also to St. Lawrence, and also carrying out the mission he was given, that of preaching, bringing salvation to the people, and going on continually throughout his life, unwaveringly and untiringly, as it were, till the very end of his life. But that was exactly what the love of God for him spurred him on to do, and will for all of us if we too. Not necessarily that we're all going to be called to go out and preach, but we are called to go out and bring salvation to people. We are all called to bring the grace, the love of God that we have to everyone else. Every one of us has that call. That's part of our call to holiness. It doesn't mean necessarily we're going to take nothing with us, as we Franciscans are called to do. However, we are all called, one way or another. Even if it's by the simple, just ordinary living of our daily lives. We're evangelizing, we're bringing salvation to people. We're all called. And we must continue to do so throughout all of our lives, wherever our lives may lead us, wherever God calls us. And we cannot be afraid to do so either. cannot be afraid to live our faith. In spite of the most daunting challenges, we cannot be afraid to live our faith, to show our love for God, and bring that love, that salvation, that peace to everyone, to all peoples, to bring all peoples to praise our God. Praise be Jesus and Mary.